Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to your literacy festival. I hope you're all well and safe. My name is Inga, and I've got a little exercise for you today, which I hope you will find educational and entertaining. And I will also tell you a little bit about myself and about what I do. But first, I would like to invite you to guess where I come from based on my accent. Although I've been living in the UK for quite a few years, I wasn't born here. I come from another country. However, I'm not going to tell you which one. You'll have to find out yourself. I'll give you just one hint. I come from Europe for sure. That's all. I'm here today because I'm a person who works with words, with a hopefully interesting life story. I arrived in the UK in 2008, and I've been living here since I originally moved to London. After a few years, I met my husband, who's Scottish, and we moved up here together. My background is as an actress and a lawyer. Back in my country, I acted in theatre and toured with theatre companies throughout Europe. At the same time, I studied law at university. My whole education was based on words. If you think about it, both actors and lawyers put emphasis on words, interpret words, and use words to provoke a certain reaction in their audience. I also studied English when I was in school, and I continued to do so after high school and throughout university. The real challenge, though, came when I moved to the UK, because the English that I had studied wasn't fit for conversation. I wasn't used to hearing the different accents from people coming from different parts of the world. And that made me feel quite isolated, because when you are in a new country and you don't speak the language very well, and you are forced to speak in that language because people wouldn't understand you otherwise, everything becomes more difficult and slower and a bit embarrassing. Words are a means to communicate with one another. But at that time, there were a barrier between me and the person I was trying to speak to. When you try to get used to a new language, your brain plays tricks on you. It initially can't process the new language, but can't use your native language to communicate. And you get stuck. Sometimes you don't know what to say. Sometimes you don't understand what you're hearing. After a few months, though, your brain usually kicks in and starts to automatically understand the new language. That's what happened with me. I started making British friends, and very slowly but progressively, I felt a bit less lonely. And I said, well, maybe I can actually live in this country and build a life here. And obviously, I managed to do that. I then was part of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I had written my first comedy in English, and I did some dates at the Fringe and then in London in the West End. The show was a big kick in the teeth for me, because I learned that when you perform in a different language, people might not have the reactions you expect them to have. This show, for example, was a comedy. I was trying to make people laugh. And I realized that most of the times, people wouldn't laugh when I expected them to do so. It was so frustrating for me, because I was on stage and I was trying to be funny and say funny things, and the audience was like zero reaction. It was really painful, but it taught me that it's not enough to translate your words into another language to make them work the same. You actually need to translate them into the culture you're going to perform in. So I said, okay, well, if this experience didn't work the way I had hoped it would, what I can do is become better at writing in English. That's when I started attending workshops to learn how to write for movies. With a friend who's a director, we wrote and made short films, winning festivals and obtaining a little bit of success. By that time, I had been in the UK for about 7-8 years, so I had started to really understand how things work here. It was wonderful, because I had the chance to write in English, perform in English, and present my movies to an English-speaking audience. At the moment, for example, I'm writing a film in English and a film in my native language. And again, it's very interesting, because when I write a story in English, perhaps there are characters who speak in different slangs or dialects. So I need a native English speaker to read my work. and tell me whether it reads well or not. When I'm writing a film in my native language instead, it is slightly easier, as you can imagine, because I can immediately sense whether my writing is correct or not. Nonetheless, believe me, sometimes I still get confused because I always have two languages in my head. When I met my husband, we moved up to Scotland, and whilst I continued writing, I started also translating books to and from English for children and sometimes also for adults. Books about history, about arts, about board games, about artists. Every time I translate a new book, a new world opens up to me because I have to search for new words. I've got dictionaries, and I know that thanks to my work, more people will be able to read that piece of writing. It's a fantastic feeling. So as you can see, words and languages have helped me to travel to a new country, have a job, and build a family here. You should always be enthusiastic about learning languages. They teach you how to open up to the world, to travel and being able to communicate with people. You will make lots of new friends and you will learn more about yourself and the world. Right, let's come to the challenge for you. Have you guessed where I come from? I'm now going to talk a little bit in my language to help you, okay? Buongiorno ragazzi, sono molto felice di essere qui con voi oggi. Spero di non avervi annoiato e spero di avervi dato l'ispirazione per imparare le lingue e giocare con le parole. Did you get any of that? What language is it? It's Italian. So well done if you've guessed Italian, because that's the correct answer. I am from Italy. And here is your exercise. It's called false friends. Your teacher will give you 20 words in English and 20 words in Italian that look very, very similar to each other. But you will have to look up their meanings because they mean very different things in English and in Italian. So go ahead and I will see you at the end of the exercise. So how was it? Challenging? Fun? I hope so. But as you can see, some English words have been borrowed by Italian and given a different meaning, like smoking and smocking. That's how we pronounce it in Italian. And some Italian words have been borrowed by English and given a different meaning, like pepperoni, which is actually peppers, peperoni in Italian. That's what happens with languages and cultures. They borrow from each other and constantly change. So always, always make sure that you choose your words wisely, okay? Thank you very, very much for the opportunity to have me here to speak to you, and I hope that you will keep learning languages and enjoy words. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.